we're going deep today
Mm-hmm.
into a really heavy topic,
Yeah.
the Holocaust.
Yeah.
And to do that, we're going to use the story of one woman,
Okay.
Sally Engelberg Frishberg.
All right.
And she lived in Poland before, during, and after World War II.
Wow.
And her story is about way more than just survival. It's about what life was like for Jewish people before the war.
Mm.
The amazing acts of bravery we see in the face of this horror.
Yeah.
And just the impact this has on someone even after the war is over.
It's a powerful story.
Absolutely.
It really gets you thinking.
So let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Sally grew up in this small village in Poland called Urzejowice.
Urzejowice.
And they were the only Jewish family
Really?
in the whole village.
Wow.
Just one.
That's amazing.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And she spoke Polish with her friends. But at home, it was Yiddish.
So there was this like blending of cultures. It's really fascinating.
I know. And it kind of shows us this world that existed.
Yeah.
That was tragically lost.
Yeah.
And even with like this undercurrent of anti-Semitism that was already in Poland.
Right.
Her family was still part of the community.
Part of the fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's really important to think about because it shows how much things changed.
Totally.
When the Nazis got there in 1942.
Yeah. It was like
everything just changed.
Yeah, everything was just ripped away.
Yeah.
I mean, you're living your life and then all of a sudden you're home.
Yeah.
Your community, everything, you know.
You have to go into hiding.
Yeah.
You're afraid for your life.
Absolutely.
It's just a totally different world.
The complete upheaval.
Yeah. And then you have this guy,
Okay.
Stashek Grocholski.
Stashek Grocholski.
This Polish neighbor.
Right.
Who decides to risk his life.
Wow.
To help Sally and her family hide.
It's incredible. Like, talk about humanity shining through in the darkest of times.
Yeah. And he could have just ignored them. Exactly.
But he decided to help, even though it put him in danger.
What would you have done in that situation?
What would any of us have done?
It's a tough question.
It really is.
Really makes you think.
And then you think about just the experience of hiding.
Right.
Like constantly being afraid.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Relying on someone else to keep you alive.
So much tension.
Just the emotional and psychological.
I can't even imagine.
That must take on you.
Living in that state of fear every single day.
But against all odds, she survived.
Wow.
I know.
What a story.
And then in 1947, she immigrates to the United States.
Okay.
She becomes a teacher in Brooklyn.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
After all that trauma.
To be able to build this whole new life for herself.
Yeah.
And her story doesn't stop there.
Oh.
She actually goes back to Poland with her niece years later.
Really?
Imagine that.
Wow.
Going back to that place where all this horror happened.
That's powerful. And that whole journey was captured in this documentary.
Okay.
Called Voices from the Attic.
Wow. And
it really is about memory and confronting the past.
Yeah.
So let's take a step back for a second.
Okay.
Why is Sally's story so important?
Well, you know, we talk about the Holocaust in terms of these big statistics, right?
Like millions of people.
The scale of it is just
I know.
Almost incomprehensible.
Yeah.
But Sally's story makes it real.
Humanizes it.
Yeah, it humanizes it. Yeah. It shows us that behind these numbers are individual people with their own experiences.
It's not just a number.
Yeah.
It's a person with feelings and thoughts.
Often dreams.
A whole life.
Yeah.
And then when you think about her childhood, speaking Polish and Yiddish, it's a reminder of this lost world, this diversity that was just destroyed.
A world that doesn't exist anymore.
And it also makes you think about, you know, we always say good versus evil.
Right.
But it's not always that simple.
Not at all.
Right.
You have Stashek risking his life.
This amazing act of bravery.
Yeah.
And then you have all these other people who were complicit in the persecution.
It's really complex.
Yeah.
Human behavior is complex.
Yeah, it's not black and white.
Exactly.
It's just this really complicated story.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Sally's story.
Uh-huh.
It's so important to remember these stories and learn from the past.
And I think when we think about Sally's story and her going back to Poland, it makes you think about how we move forward.
Yeah.
How do you rebuild after something like that?
How do you reconcile with the past?
It's a big question.
And this is just one story.
Yeah.
One story among millions.
I encourage everyone to go and hear more of these stories.
Yeah.
Listen to these voices from the past.
They have so much to teach us.
Because they have so much to teach us.
Yeah.
About ourselves.
About humanity.
And the world.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening. Thank you.